So I'm a second generation musician. I started playing when I was 5. My father was a drummer and started me playing when I was 5 years old. I've been playing drums ever since. I played in lots of different situations. Started off doing school bands, worked up to doing county and national youth jazz orchestras. Then migrated into kind of doing West End stuff. So I did some pit playing for theatre things. Then did sessions, did tours. And then ended up running bands and being a musical director. Yeah, I didn't start teaching till quite late on in my career. When I was 40, I decided it was time to maybe do a few less gigs and be on tour a little less, and thought I'd try teaching. Started off with 1 day a week and thoroughly enjoyed it. Found I got way more out of teaching than I ever did playing. And I've just continued to grow a teaching practice from then on, really. I approached teaching much in the same way that I did drums. I wanted to be the best teacher and educator that I could be. I got around good teachers, tried to learn from the best. I studied teaching. I did courses at college in the evenings. I started off doing the basic teacher training courses, worked up to sort of more advanced teacher training courses. Eventually did my PCE through the University of Greenwich, which was a fantastic learning opportunity. And I've continued to sort of study teaching as well as studying drums and music. I think it's a fantastic way of communicating. It's a fantastic way of becoming a mentor and a coach to young drummers and young instrumental educators. So people that are trying to get into the industry as a teacher, as an instrumental teacher. And it's it's really thoroughly rewarding to sort of take on young teaching talent and show them ways of really getting the best out of their learners, and producing a fantastic generation of the next musicians. The thing I love most about teaching is when you take someone that hasn't played drums before and you introduce them to a drum kit, you sit them down and you just let them play. And within quite a short period of time, people can learn to play the drums. They can make a groove, enjoy music, play along with music, and then watching people learn, watching people sort of move from a position where they don't know what they're doing to slowly gaining confidence and slowly gaining that ability to be able to play music at quite a very accessible level. That's fantastic. When you start to teach people, take them on the graded syllabus. The RSL syllabus is a fantastic syllabus for drums. It's a very good introduction into playing charts, so people are playing real music and they're getting the enjoyment of playing along with music that they like, playing along with tunes that sound very similar to stuff that they like or they listen to. That's fantastic. Helping them, coaching them through the graded syllabus, which is brilliant. I love teaching in a kind of lateral way, so as well as teaching a graded syllabus, you can teach all the other things. I like bringing in different styles of teaching as well, so music, learning music and being an educator within the kind of music industry, it's important so that your learners are having a great time and enjoying it. If they're not enjoying it, if they're not having fun, they're not going to learn. So my job is really as a coach, as an educator, to bring people in, sit them down, make drums, music accessible to everybody, and then watching them grow in confidence, watching them grow in skill level, acquiring skills, acquiring sort of active listening, active learning, and then just watching them develop and grow confidence. And there's really no better job in the world. Teaching's changed a lot since I started teaching, and even from when I started learning to play the drums. Music is a very accessible subject. There's loads of transferable skills from music. You're learning how to learn. You're learning that you put in the hard work will bring results. Slowly and surely, if you work at it and take a step process, you'll develop and you'll get better. And that's an important lesson for everybody. It's a transferable skill from any learning environment. It's funny now, having studied teaching, people are talking about transferable skills and like the 4 C's. So they're talking about communication, critical thinking, creativity. We as music educators have known this for years. We know that when you sit somebody down and you teach them how to play an instrument, you're teaching them how to be critical thinkers of their own output. They're being creative. A musician has to be collaborative. They have to be able to work with other people. So in many ways, as music educators, we're way ahead of the curve. We are teaching people how to learn and enjoy their learning and get better. And I think that over the last few years, education, general education, has caught up with us musicians and us music educators, because we've known these things for a long time, and it's a really exciting time to be within education. I think yes, I do. I think yes, everybody can learn to play the drums. I get a lot of people into lessons who have had a go at drums and they think they can play, and they can play a groove, and they can play the groove, but it's really nice for people to come in and try playing the drums, even if they've seen some videos on YouTube or they've taught themselves a few little bits. Then, you know, as educators, we can pick it up from there and then move on with that and teach them exactly how to sit and how to play, how to hold the drumsticks, how to approach playing, you know, in a creative way. So yes, I think everybody can learn. I currently, for DEROSA, teach my youngest student, I think, is 6, and she's doing fantastically well. She's brilliant. She loves her playing. She's learning to read, straight away. She's learning to read music, which is brilliant. Watching her develop that is fantastic. I think the oldest guy that I teach at the moment is 75. He's been playing drums a long time, but he enjoys it as well. And it's everybody in between, and it's great. I love it. And if I'd have known what I know now, I would have got into teaching a lot sooner in my career. It's made me a better player. It's made me a better musician. And yeah, I think everybody can learn to play the drums. Yeah, the question of groups and one-to-one lessons has always come up. I teach both, to be honest with you. I think there are situations where a one-to-one lesson is the perfect vehicle for someone to learn. Certainly at the higher grade levels, if somebody's very devoted and very into their playing, then a one-to-one coaching session with an educator is a brilliant way of progressing and going through the graded syllabus. Equally, I think that group lessons are a fantastic way of learning, certainly for young learners, to come into a social environment so that the pressure's off. They've got some friends. They can look at other people developing at certain speeds, and they'll know that it's not all about them in terms of the attention is not on them the whole time. So it's a slightly lesser sort of pressurized environment. Some people work well in a group, and if they need some time on their own to work through some stuff, then working in a group gives them that time. I know from my own experience with my own children. My daughters are into dance, and they go to dance classes, and they're in a class and they learn in a group environment, and they enjoy that group dynamic. I'm not sure they would enjoy it as much if it was a one-to-one lesson. In the same way that my son does sport and plays rugby, and he enjoys that team ethic and that group dynamic that he enjoys when he goes to rugby. A one-to-one lesson in rugby wouldn't suit him. So I think that certainly within musical education, group lessons and one-to-one lessons have a place. Certainly for younger students, a group lesson that is fun and contains learning activities is a brilliant way to introduce people into music, to create a learning environment that's fun and enjoyable, that students want to then come back and work with other people. Obviously, there's a necessity as a musician to work collaboratively, to work with other people. And therefore, if you get used to working in a group and being in a room with other people making music, the sooner we do that, the better it is for you as a musician. So I think group lessons are a fantastic vehicle for that. In the same way, I think that when you start progressing and when you start needing more coaching rather than teaching, then a one-to-one coaching environment might be the ideal way of rounding some of the edges, working on certain key bits. And certainly if you're working at the sort of grade 6, 7 and 8 levels for students, if they're looking to accrue UCAS points, then yes, a one-to-one lesson might be the perfect vehicle to sort of accelerate that learning and really put them on the path to getting merits and distinctions in graded exams. So I think it has both. I think both systems have merits. Group lessons are a lot of fun. One-to-one lessons can be quite daunting, but equally they can be very rewarding.